Great, thank you so much. Hello everyone. I'm glad to be joining you all today from Glasgow, and thank you, Adam, for the opportunity to come and speak about Doughnut Economics and Scotland Network. And I think Ken and William have left the conversation at such a beautiful point that I can directly carry on from there. Thank you, Ken and William. So, yeah, I really wished I could get some donuts, but I'm going to talk about donut economics, but there are no donuts, unfortunately. I'm sorry. This is the only fun slide I have. Other than that, my slides also have graphs and curves. Hello, I'm Vinishree. I have not studied economics. I have degrees in architecture, industrial design, and service design, and I've been dabbling as a designer for 19 years now. And more recently, invested my efforts in tech for good and high social impact projects, and planet-centered and climate-centered work, and anything creative and hands-on that fuels my imagination. I lead the Doughnut Economics Scotland network along with my colleague Rebecca Lee, who is also an accessibility lead for Doughnut Economics Action Lab. I'll give you a quick glimpse of a project that I thought I should share with you to give you local context before we get into a global movement like the Doughnut Economics. So, Cultivate was led by Creative Dundee and is a project that placed creativity at the heart of climate justice and developed actions with local communities across the Tay region in Scotland. My work was concentrated in Dundee, and alongside me, there were other practitioners who covered areas like Angus and Perth, and they worked with communities of young adults and those with low income. Now, my brief was to work with people of diverse ethnic backgrounds across Dundee, co designing a climate justice framework with them. I used creative tools to engage with this intergenerational group of women and children. Climate justice conversation, as you know, can be quite vast and complex and tricky. So I broke down those overwhelming concepts into simple, digestible formats, finding examples from our everyday lives. Throughout, I used co-design methodologies to engage with this group. The idea was to together find the gaps in the climate narrative and how we could together frame the response for climate justice. Because of my background in product design and circular economy, I explored the Sustainable Development Goal number 12, that is responsible consumption and production. And it led us to discuss various themes like capitalism and how deep-rooted it is, and especially how the language of climate is not meant for all and how inaccessible it is at the moment. I heard diverse voices, experiences, and people's local actions. Conversations on power and privilege emerged quite often in our workshops. We discussed inequalities, especially that women face, unequal distribution of wealth and power, and even global north-south cultural differences that impacts carbon contribution. It reinstated the stark truth of how intertwined the social, ecological, and environmental issues are. The diagrams that Willem and Ken explained, and how we can consider intersectionality in relation to ecology. My core idea for this project revolved around reimagining tomorrow. How might we collectively start thinking long term and be more speculative in our actions and plan for future generations? And that is when I deep dived into Doughnut Economics, read the book by Kate Raworth, and watched these well-explained videos. And I will share all these links in the chat after this. And Adam, I request you to share it with whoever needs it. So the methodologies, toolkits, and strategies that I had been using in my projects in sustainability, net zero, and climate justice all seemed to converge within Doughnut Economics. So, Kate Raworth's foundational donut model is, I believe, one of the most powerful ideas in economics, and it reshapes how we think about it, measure it, and approach it in the 21st century. I'm going to give you a very high level idea of what it is, and I would encourage you to look at all the resources I'll be sharing with you or even read the book. The goal of the Doughnut Economics is to meet the needs of all within the means of the living planet. In other words, to live in this safe and just space for humanity. The Doughnut Economics consists of two concentric rings. The inside ring is a social foundation to ensure that no one is left falling short of one's life's essentials. Um, and uh, and the outer ring, the ecological ceiling, is to ensure that humanity does not collectively overshoot the planetary boundaries that the Earth's life supporting system has. And between the two sets of boundaries lies the donut shaped space that is both ecologically safe and socially just, a space in which the humanity can thrive. The social foundation, which is the inner circle, has 12 indicators. It has been taken from the 12 Sustainable Development Goals. And the ecological ceiling, the outer circle, has 9 planetary boundaries. It is a new way of looking at the human well being and prosperity and how the 21st century economic model must evolve from looking at growth as an upward exponential curve, which Williams said that it cannot keep growing and growing, and where does it end? To thriving a balance between the social and social foundations and the ecological ceiling. So now we are living in a world right now that is currently living far outside the donut. And you can see all those red wedges. So the red wedges shows the measurement of percentage of shortfall, which is in the center. Shortfall in terms of basic needs like housing, health, or education. And on the other hand, the overshoot of biodiversity loss or land conversion. Doughnut Economics suggests 7 ways or 7 core concepts. 2 of these I'm going to share with you today. So the first one is to change the dynamics of the economies that are degenerative to ones that are regenerative by design. So we have inherited a very linear take, make, waste linear cycle where it takes the raw materials and creates waste at the end of the cycle, running down Earth's life supporting system. And to move to a more regenerative system where all the biological materials can be restored or rewilded and regenerated, mimicking the nature's genius that it is. And the technical materials like plastic, glass, metal, etc., can be used responsibly and restored, reused, or upcycled, like in a circular economy. And here's the second concept that we need to be moving our economy from a deeply divisive to ones that are distributive by design, by asking who owns the source of wealth creation, such as land, housing, and business, and how can we design economies where values and opportunities is shared far more equitably with all those who create it. The richest 1% owns significant portion of the global wealth, and we need to change it. There are millions of people falling short of the life's essentials, and then there are people who are over-consuming. How can the law or the systems or the strategies around us can make it more distributive? So now, the core ideas of donut economics is being used the world over in different sectors like housing, land, energy, and to different scales. Like, it is being used in communities, to smaller organizations, to larger businesses, cities, regions, and even government level. Doughnut Economics Action Lab is instrumental in supporting all the work and turning doughnut economics from just being a radical idea into more transformative action. So I'm going to show you, I hope you can see this website now, yeah. So just taking you to the deals, the Doughnut Economics Action Lab's website, I wanted to walk you through because they have great resources. So as I said before, work is happening across various sectors. So in communities and art sector, cities and regions. So Glasgow is one of the cities that has taken up the Doughnut Economics framework. And along with Glasgow, there's Amsterdam, Mexico, Spain, New Zealand, Canada, cities in various countries and continents using the Doughnut framework. It is heavily being used in research and academia. So if you click on this link, I'll share these links afterwards. But there is a whole lot of resources available for students and academics and for teaching, even in universities. And Deal has also collaborated with a student movement, which is called Rethinking Economics. If there are any students here, they can connect with them and also come to these resources. And if they want to do courses, they can do it from here. Again, businesses and enterprises are using it. So I'll just go to one of the pages. So if you go here, you'll be able to see a lot of toolkit information and lots of case studies of how businesses are using it. And it is being used in schools and education and government and policies, as I told you. Coming here, Global Donut Day. So what is happening is there's a lot of global action happening across the world. So what Deal does is brings together every year, so in the week of October, the global communities come together and share what are they doing with the donut economics, and it is a week of celebration. And we, as the Scotland Network, also participated in 2023. Our first speaker was William, so that I'm so happy that William is here again today. And we did another event last year. I'll share more about it, but just want to share a few more things. So it has a lot of case studies. If you go into stories, you find a lot of case studies of how people are using it across the world. And this is really useful. So if you go to tools, there are lots of workshops, or if you want to use these tools in various ways, you can come and just pick up resources from here and start using it. As I told you, there are lots of organizations and networks across the globe. So this is the page for networks. I will zoom into UK. UK has a lot of networks like Cornwall, Milton Keynes, Wales Network, and we are here. We are the Scotland Network. You can go onto the link and see what we're doing here. So I'll jump back to my presentation now. So yes, as the Scotland Network, we set it up in 2023. Scotland didn't have a representation before, so Rebecca and I set up the network, and we've been bringing together people and place-based projects that are regenerative and distributive by nature, and we've organized two global donut days before. So in 2023, with Glasgow School of Arts. And few other organizations. And in 2024, we did a good event where we welcomed people from academics, professionals in design and accessibility, charities, organizations working in grassroots level, experts, funders, networks in arts and creative industry, and especially the disabled community. So folks with diverse lived expertise of disability or exclusion, and disabled performers and artists were part of this event. The event had workshops and performances, and together we focused on how might we shape a fairer future in Scotland. And we'll be doing another event in October 2025. So I would really encourage you to let me know if you would like to participate or associate in some way. And yes, if you want to get involved, if you are working in this sector, or just curious about the donut economics or climate-centered projects and want to get involved, please get in touch with us. We're just a LinkedIn group right now where we post information, but the network is growing every year. And that's me. Thank you very much.